Adam Collins here with Cricbuzz Unplugged. I'm at Kent County Cricket Club down in Canterbury with the great Allan Donald, who's an assistant coach down here these days, to talk about the life and times of him in the world of cricket and about specifically South Africa's World Cup campaign, which will be starting in a couple of months. Let's start there. Do you think they can win it at long last?
Look, any South African thinks they can win it. Put all the other bits and pieces aside. Look, I think it's going to be a hard one, this one, because obviously lost a few good ones last year. AB de Villiers is a massive loss for South Africa. I can't tell you how big that is. So they're finding that man now, and that kid can be Markram at the moment, who's playing very, very good cricket right now. He's made back-to-back one-day hundreds for his franchise back home. Has really hit the ball as clean as I've seen him do it in the last couple of years. I think the biggest problem for South Africa is finding that man at number 7. That's going to be a real test. And there's young Mulder, Pretorius, JP Duminy is just coming good at the right time for them right now. Hashim Amla hasn't scored really heavily, and I know his father's been quite ill, so maybe that's been a big factor in his life at the moment. But you can't go to a World Cup without Hashim Amla, so I think for Otis Gibson and seeing how it's evolved over, or this team unfolding over the last 6 months or so is who's going to be his proper all-rounders. There's nothing wrong with the bowling attack at the moment. Ngidi, Rabada, Dale Steyn back and bowling well, and then of course Shamsi and Tahir. So still a couple of gaps to fill there, but look, South Africa will. There's no doubt, and they've got a tough opening game against England. It is a real, and the way that England have set themselves up right now, they're playing such gung-ho cricket at the moment. Almost no respect for the opposition in a nice way, of course. And it's great to see. So, look, it's going to be a tough opening game for them.
This might be a hard question for you to answer, given that Kent have just appointed a Kolpak player as your temporary captain. But South Africa have been diminished by the Kolpak rule, especially in the last couple of years in county cricket. But they've done pretty well to make sure it doesn't affect them in white ball cricket.
Yes. I think mostly if you look at the players who've come and played Kolpak, and geez, there's a number of them, have always played Test cricket, have played a few Test matches, and maybe a one-dayer or two, or maybe more, and then moved on. But it hasn't really affected them that much. Heino has been a gun player for me for a very long time. Probably in the shade of, has always been the sort of shade of Mark Boucher for a long time. So and then now De Kock, who's playing serious cricket. But yeah, look, we are very, very happy to have. I know his experience last year was precious for us. It was really, really good. I've never seen him bat so well for a long time. He's a wonderful man to have in our change room. He's an inspirational kid. Well, he's not a kid anymore, but he's an inspirational man, and he doesn't let standards drop on the field, which is so good. He's pretty hard on that sort of discipline. In
a World Cup year, do the old juices get flowing for you? Of course, playing in those campaigns through the 90s, it was a special time for South African cricket.
Oh yeah, I mean, having that first call up in 1992 when I remember the team being selected and we were bloody nervous, having a Free State practice, and then all of a sudden got the call from the coach and saying you guys have been selected. It was a amazing feeling, and to have done 4 is even more so. Although 2003 probably the most disappointing one of all of them, and we all know what happened in '99. So, but yeah, look, I've had a great run at it. Although it's not a nice thing, and I'll be very honest, not a nice thing to be able to say you haven't won one. So that just bites me.
Is 99 the least understood World Cup campaign? Everyone talks about what happened in the semi-final, but dropping that game against Zimbabwe, the lack of runs South Africans batters made throughout, I mean, it gets reduced to one moment, but it was more than that, wasn't it?
It certainly was. And yes, yeah. I mean, I go back to that Zimbabwean game, and I still say it again. I just feel we didn't respect them enough that day, and they always talk about mother cricket, where they kick you where it hurts, and they played inspirational cricket that day. They didn't score that many, and we just got off to a rotten start. But yeah, look, And then, of course, that would have meant and beating Australia at Headingley. That would have been, the Herschel catch that was dropped, and and Steve Waugh's comments are, fittingly as well. But look, we've had our opportunities. I still feel that team in '99 was the best one-day side that I've ever played in, and it was the best one-day side during that year. We came into that World Cup number 1 in the world, and we've just come off the back of winning the Champions Trophy, and then arriving in Brighton that day for the first day of that, leading up to play India. I looked around that room and I was comfortable who I was with, because there was plenty of guns around.